I'm going to show y'all how to make a graded wash for painting the oceans around your island. And a graded wash goes from light to dark of one color. And we're going to start with light color, light blue. And this is because a lot of old-timey maps would have the shallow waters, like near the land, they would be lighter, and then the waters would get like a darker blue to show the deeper waters. So to start with, I'm going to show you how to do this with liquid watercolor and with a watercolor tray. And for the liquid watercolor, I've already made some different blues. The first one, number one, is very diluted. That means it's watered down, so a very light blue. And this one has water and a little more paint. And then this one has more paint. And then this one has even more paint and even a touch of purple in there. So they go from light to dark. 1, 2, 3, 4. Lighter, darker, 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 darkest. And with using the liquid watercolor, I recommend still starting with a little bit of water and just painting. I think there's some paint on my brush. Painting using just the tip of the brush, painting like right along the land. Go ahead and get some water on there. You'll be able to see it because it'll be shiny. So we're not painting in the land, just right around it with water. And then start with your lightest liquid watercolor. So very watery blue. And then right up against where the water was, I'm going to paint this on there, and it'll kind of blend into where the water was and kind of spread out right against the land. So we're just staying in the shallow water right now. And that's kind of like a puddle, so I can soak that up with my brush and transfer that over here. And I'm gonna stop here and show you how you would do this with the watercolor tray. With the watercolor tray, you could get your brush wet and use your brush like a little mop to transfer water to the color. I'm gonna use this turquoisey blue to start with, and very, very gently use the tip of your brush to very gently get the water mixed in with the paint. And then you'll just lift off that watery paint and spread it out right up against the land. So these look very similar. The difference with liquid watercolor is it's already a liquid, but you would still dilute it with more water. So you'll take some time to paint your very light blue shallow water, and then you'll switch to level 2 on the liquid watercolor. You don't really have to wash off your brush because we're working with all blues. And dip it in there, and then paint right just beyond the shallow water. And you can let it touch a little bit, but don't cover up your shallow water or you'll lose that light blue. And this is sort of a wet on wet technique. The wet paint is gonna mix in just a little bit with your other wet paint, giving it kind of a soft faded look, or like a blurry look. One color fades into another. It'll look a little different when it dries. Oh, and I meant to tell y'all, let me spread this stuff out. please, I know I haven't been doing this until now, but please, while you're doing this, I recommend rotating your paper so that wherever you're painting is what's closest to you, and then you don't have to reach across your island and like drip the blues onto your land. So rotate your paper. I meant to say that from the beginning. And again, if you have the puddles, you can soak them up with your brush and transfer them, and then re-dip. And then let me show you how to do this with the watercolor paint. To get more blue, you'll just stir it more, and that'll lift up more of the pigment. So stirring it more, just don't add more water to it. Oh, that was a lot. I stirred it even more than I meant to. If that happens, then you can just reach your brush in the water and get some more water to help that spread out. I know I didn't finish painting my whole ocean over there, like the shallow part, but on yours, please do like the entire shallow part before you move on to the level 2. And then when level 2, when you've done that, then you can, you guessed it, switch to level 3, which has more color. I think for this, okay, starting out, I was using more of a turquoise blue. Oh, actually a blue-green. Yeah, turquoise blue or blue-green. And then I'm switching to just regular blue for the water as it's getting deeper. And this also had a little less water. So here again, start just beyond where you left off. You're not painting over what you already painted. You can paint right on top of your compass. It'll still show up. You can let the colors mix a little bit or like overlap just a little bit. And then I'm going to show you how you can do this with the watercolor tray if that's what you're using. I'm gonna pull some of this turquoise blue over here to this more of an ultramarine blue for the deeper water. I might add a little bit more water here. So mixing in the turquoise in a little bit. I could even mix on the tray, but I think it's fine in the paint wells. I'm gonna try this. It might need more water, but well, that's okay. And then I'm gonna reload my brush. And reload my brush and keep painting. And again, turn your paper and paint like all the way around your island. But because I'm just showing you how to do this in the video, I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the last layer. Level 4 on the liquid watercolor, and this has more of the turquoise, more of the blue, and it even has a little bit of purple for the really deep waters and not as much water. So for this, just like everything else, you'll paint kind of off right where you left off. You can let it overlap just a little bit. If it looks a little stripy, like that looks a little stripy, I'm gonna wipe my brush on a paper towel and then with a dry brush kind of help it blend right there. And you would just do that all the way around. And I wanna show you how you can make that with your watercolor tray. Now you would just use, not really the turquoise, you would just use this ultramarine blue. It's like a blue, and then this was the turquoise. So some of that, not much water. I think I made a 5th layer there. I meant to come over here. Get some more of the ultramarine and paint around it. And remember, turn your paper and paint like the entire layer around. And if you want to make that last layer go to the all the way to the edge, you can. Or you could leave some little bit of white space. Just look at it and see what you think would look nice. So that's how you can make a gradation going from light, very light blue to darker, to show the shallow water and the darker water. And if at any time something spills that you didn't want to be there, you can dab it with a paper towel and soak it up. Thank you for watching. For painting your land, we'll be using the watercolor trays. So you'll have your tray, water, a brush, and I'd like for you to start by painting water inside your island. You'll probably already have your ocean painted at this point. And you'll paint water. Try to avoid your little landmarks and places, because later you can use the dry brush technique to paint those, or you can color them with colored pencils or marker. But let's do those last and get in all the details. Oh, I think I painted over my path there. I didn't mean to. But try, so if that happens, you can try to soak it up a little bit with a paper towel. So I'm going to paint this, keep painting this with water. Pretend I did the whole thing. You can do your whole thing, but for the sake of the time on the video, I'm gonna move on. And you can paint your land with some nice warm colors: yellows, oranges, reds, and brown. Please don't use blue, because that'll be the color of the ocean. And please don't use black, because that'll kind of, it'll be hard to see your imagery with that. Let's use some land colors like you see on the maps. And I'm gonna show you how you can do that. You can dip your brush in water and then gently soak up some of the color. You can add more water if it's not really coming up. And then I'm gonna transfer over some of this orange. But you could start with yellow or orange or red or brown or green. And then this is going to be a wet on wet technique. So while this is still wet, I'm going to get some of another color. I'm going to get some of this red and paint some of this over here. And it might kind of mix in with the orange a little bit. And I'm avoiding the volcano. I'll get back to it later when all this is dry and I do the dry brush technique, which is basically painting with very little water. Okay, and then maybe now I'll add a little bit of yellow. Come over here. Let me try out some green. Kind of wash your brush between each color. Help your colors stay clean. Oh, if something's very, very detailed, just use the tip of your brush and hold it like standing straight up, and that'll help you get in the little details around things. And if you wrote your words dark enough, or hopefully outlined them with the black colored pencil, you can just paint right over the words and they should still show up. As long as you're keeping the paint watery, everything will still show up. And this can be like one layer. If it dries and you want to add more to it, or if it didn't look dark enough, you can add another layer later when this is dry. And you don't have to use all the colors of yellow, green, orange, and red. You could just maybe use a few of them, whatever you like the best. And if, like, I'm looking at this, that feels a little too pigmented to me, so it doesn't match the other ones, so I'm gonna soak up some of that and then help spread it out a little bit more. This will look different when it dries. And this again is the wet on wet technique. Like wet, start by getting your paper wet with just water, and then add watercolor, and then let the colors like blend and flow into each other a little bit. And then I would just keep on working at it. And if you're painting, you can always turn your paper and rotate your paper so that whatever is near you is where you're painting. And that'll help you not have to reach across your whole page and maybe drip. Thank you for watching.